All right. We're forming a new team about vlogging here. Calling it the Revengers. I need you to come with me to help Azeroth and vlog about it. Will you come with me?
Drak not want to vlogs.
But Drak, we haven't done a vlog in months now. I mean, we all thought you were dead, but you're not. It's time. We can do this. We all
Drak
missed
not
you.
want to vlogs. Internet not like Drak.
No, internet loves Drak. Internet loves Drak.
No, internet not love Drak. Internet mad at Drak because he not like private server.
No, internet loves Drak fine. They don't even want private servers. No, they just want you.
No, they don't want Drak as vlogger. Drak's strongest vlogger there is, and they get mad at Drak when he does vlogs.
Fine. They get mad, but that's no reason to get mad, right?
Drak mad! That all Drak there is! What are you Are you saying you're strongest vlogger?
No, I'm not strongest vlogger.
Drak's strongest vlogger there is!
Okay. Let's break character here.
Go ahead and start us up.
Welcome, everybody. It's Drak and Shadow. Well, he's Drak and I'm Shadow. I pointed
It's
at me.
been a while, my friend.
Been quite a while. Real life got in the way, so we haven't been able to do these for.
Well, and on top of that, like we kept cutting vlogs. So at that point, like the one vlog that the vacation we're talking about got cut into was the Hitman's Bodyguard.
Yeah.
And then we were kind of interested in doing the Dark Tower, but then our buddy Romney told us, yeah, probably not do that.
He was it.
Oh, no, actually, no. The second one was Detroit. You wanted to do Detroit, but that was around the time when I was taking a vacation.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I'm really not looking to add stress to my payload.
Yeah, we were interested in the Dark Tower, but once the reviews started coming out, we heard it wasn't good. Romney has been interested in it.
Who knows? Maybe if you guys get us to 100 subscribers, because I like hitting that button. If you get us to 100 subscribers, you want us to do a vlog of the Dark Tower. I'll rent it on Amazon. We'll watch it together.
All right.
But yeah, until then, that basically was off the table, and there wasn't really a good movie that we wanted to see together until now.
Yeah, until now.
So welcome to Thor Ragnarok. We're officially in the holiday season. Well, I don't want to say Thor started it, because there was plenty of other stuff that was popular to people that we didn't see.
Yeah.
Because I think Coco's out by now.
I don't know, actually. I think that's out in December.
I could have sworn there was another November movie that was going to be popular that you and me weren't interested in.
Oh, I can't honestly think of it.
Yeah, so Thor Ragnarok is our... Actually, no, because it came out the 3rd. So at that point, it would have been right into November. But we couldn't see it because BlizzCon.
Well,
and Brinton getting married. And lots of games releasing. And...
It's been busy.
Yes, it has been busy. So, welcome to the vlogs. In case you didn't know this, from our absence, we don't really do the plot synopsis anymore. So,
No.
And a lot of that is because people would get mad at us for spoiling the movie and all that.
Plus, it's just the time. We want to cut these on time a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. Especially when we don't do things like background music or anything like that. So I guess the only thing that there are two things that I would like to be able to do with this. Is comparing it to the Thor movies, because, it is Thor and it is situations that he's dealing with. But then I also want to just compare it to the Marvel Cinematic Universe as a whole, because, that's what we do. Because it's once again another Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. So I guess let's start with the comparing it to the other movies. Is it better or worse than Thor and Thor Dark World?
For me, I'd say it's marginally better. I don't have huge problems with Thor and Thor Dark World. I'm not a huge fan either. It's just they were okay for me. And they were fine. They were adequate. So this one, I think I enjoyed a little more than the other two.
I'm actually going to say that, because the original Thor is great still to me. I still love it. But I would definitely say that Ragnarok's maybe tied with the original Thor to me, but it's definitely better than Dark World. I would actually dare say that Marvel, you know this. Marvel movies I normally enjoy myself, but there have been a few outliers here and there where I haven't enjoyed it as much as everybody else has, and Thor: Dark World is one of them. Where I thought there were still a lot of good moments in it. Don't get me wrong, but I like if I were to compare Ragnarok and this to Dark World, or Ragnarok to Dark World, I'd say Ragnarok's better. Same thing with the original Thor. So at that point, yeah, I would say this is better than the previous entry, but I think it's only because they tried to rip off the whole Guardians of the Galaxy gimmick and do it in Thor. Take that for what it's worth. So to us, like, okay, well, let's do the comparisons and then we'll get into the film itself. In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where does Ragnarok stand? Is it a good entry into it? Is it a bad one?
I'd say it's good. It's definitely a good entry.
Like, compared to what? What would you actually consider to be a bad entry?
Probably, well, I wasn't too fond of The Amazing Spider-Man. Not The Amazing Spider-Man.
Homecoming.
Spider-Man Homecoming.
Oh, yeah, considering that was the last Marvel movie we saw, this is loads better than that.
Yeah, I like this one a lot more than Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah, nothing against Homecoming, but you know, when it came to like Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, this just felt more like a Cinematic Universe movie. Another bad one that I'll say it because, you know, I'm an Iron Man fan, and I love the original Iron Man, but 2 is hard to sit through, and 3 is only worth sitting through at the end so that I can see the House Party Protocol. You know, see the Iron Legion at work, but those would be what I consider to be kind of like bad entries into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, especially when you consider like when Iron Man 2 came out, what came out after was so much better than Iron Man 2. So I would say that this is definitely a lot better, especially as far as storytelling. I also wanted to get into Phase 3, but I'm trying to remember like what is considered a Phase 3 movie. Ant-Man. So everything past Ant-Man is Phase 3. So Ant-Man, Civil War, so Captain America, Civil War,
Doctor Strange,
Spider-Man Homecoming technically counts. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 technically counts. I think that's it. I think those are the movies so far that have come out, because the ending is Infinity War.
Right.
So at that point, where does Ragnarok sit in those? In Phase 3. So we're talking Ant-Man. I'm just going to go over them again so people know. Ant-Man, Captain America, Civil War, Spider-Man Homecoming, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Is there one I'm missing?
Homecoming.
I said Homecoming.
I said Homecoming. Civil War, you said it. So Ant-Man, Civil War, Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah. So compared to those, like where does Ragnarok sit?
Well, somewhere in the middle, I guess.
I'd actually say it's in the upper echelons to me. And the reason I say that is because I love Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Like, even to this day, having it on DVD only made it stronger for me. I also love Civil War for what they tried to do, but I would definitely say that Thor is definitely stronger than Homecoming, and probably a little stronger than Ant-Man to me.
All right.
Ant-Man's fine, but this just did a lot more that got me kind of giggling and was funny. So there you go. As far as comparisons, let's get into it. What did you like about this film?
Well, I really did like the film. I liked almost everything about it I can think of. That, you know, I liked Cate Blanchett's character. I liked her as the goddess of death here. Kind of interesting new character. So I liked seeing Hulk again, seeing Mark Ruffalo's Hulk, Bruce Banner again. So again, that sort of weird duality that he has to always wrestle with.
Well, and it was actually really cool to see duality, because like, what was the last time we saw Mark? It was Avengers.
Yeah,
it was Age of Ultron. At that point in that movie, he was playing more off of Tony than he was anybody else. This one, we got to see him play off Thor, and that's, I think, in a lot of cases, correct me if I'm wrong, that's what we wanted to see. We wanted to see the buddy cop movie that involves Thor and Hulk. Because a lot of the good moments for Hulk and Thor are when they're up against each other. So I'm not saying I disagree with you.
Yeah.
I'm saying that that's basically what we've been wanting for a while, and we finally got that moment.
Yeah, and it worked because Hemsworth and
it was a great payoff.
They worked together very well.
They really do, actually. It's kind of scary, especially. I'm not saying that Robert Downey Jr. and Mark Ruffalo had a bad coming together, but.
Not at all. I mean...
But there wasn't too much to do with them aside from having them spew out technobabble.
Yeah, it's... With them, it's a kind of a clash of egos and a clash of each other's genius, basically, with Stark and
and since the Downey Stark is so beloved, it's not like you're going to be able to get any headway from that.
And, you know, They had the back and forth with each other.
Yeah.
Really, you could go watch Zodiac, which also had Robert Downey Jr. and Mark Ruffalo kind of again playing off of each other as sort of rivals. It's in that movie, it's cop journalist, and having them have to kind of play off that dynamic of each other. You can kind of see that relationship, that chemistry again when you see them in Age of Ultron. Yeah.
Actually, one thing that just barely came to me, you know, I made the comparison of like the only thing you can really expect Tony Stark and Bruce Banner to do is spout technobabble. Mm-hmm. One of the best parts in this movie is getting Thor to spout technobabble. And it's like, oh yeah, we need a ship. We need to have a ship, but it can't be too fast. It can't have that kind of engine. No. We just need to get out of here. I'm just like, holy crap! We're having a Tony Stark conversation with Thor! And it's supposed to make sense, because Asgard science is far beyond Earth. But then again, I also did love those moments where it's like, I have 7 PhDs! Here, what are we gonna do, Thor? Go throw your PhDs at them. So you like the interactions between the two of them.
Yeah.
You brought up Hela. Hela's actually kind of an active villain in the Thor canon, and it makes sense. She's the god of death, or underworld, one of the two. Cate Blanchett as a pick for that.
Yeah, I mean...
Good or bad to you?
Good, I mean, Blanchett does really good with villains, I think. She was the White Witch in the Chronicles of Narnia, and...
No, she wasn't.
She wasn't?
No, you're thinking Galadriel.
Yeah, that was Tilda Swinton, I think, was the White Witch.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, but sometimes I get them mixed up because they're kind of similar in how they play roles.
Totally understand.
But Blanchett was fine. I liked her as the goddess of death here.
I actually kind of like that. I was worried for a second there. Nothing against Kate, but Kate's getting up there in years, so I was worried that they were going to put her in such a role that would require her to be very active. I was not sure how they would be able to pull it off. That, and they would also have to kind of reverse aging a little bit because she has to be a goddess.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. She needs to look immortal. So I'm not saying, guys, before you reach the end of the comments, Bill, I see you going to the comment section. Stop it. I'm not saying she looks bad or anything like that. She looks amazing for her age. But I was worried that, because of the schedule and all that, it wouldn't be something that she wanted to do. And she did it. She pulled that crap off.
Yeah.
I especially loved when, she had the whole mode of going into game time where they CG'd the helmet getting onto her. I love those moments because she's like, all right, I'm killing you all then. It's like, wow.
Well, she was Rita Repulsa, right? She was Rita in Power Rangers. Wasn't she? No,
it wasn't. You mean in the movie?
Yeah.
No, that's Elizabeth Banks.
Thanks. God damn it. They're all
That's Hunger Games. That's the lady in Hunger Games that scares me and gives me nightmares to this day.
Right. They're all blended together now.
They really are for you.
All these women villains.
Cate Blanchett doesn't do much. And a lot of her stuff is amazing. I really wish she would be utilized a lot more, but
yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So I would actually say her as Hela had worked a lot better than even I had imagined. The other thing too is I really thought she was going to complain about that skin tight jumpsuit. Doesn't look like she had a problem with it at all. Like I said, the best part about the Hela character that she did was like whenever she'd go into game time, or when she would like a lot of the monologuing where she would talk about the true history of Asgard. Those were good moments for her too.
Yeah.
But I'm a little shocked at the swerve a little bit, because the way that we all looked at this, Karl Urban's character was supposed to be the main villain of this, and then we got the swerve that Cate Blanchett was going to be playing Hela. How do we feel about Karl Urban? Like he played Scourge to the Executioner. How do we feel about him? Because I felt like that was a big announcement to bring him in.
Well, I don't know really anything about the character, so
you got more than the character I think was ever given in the comics.
Yeah. So
at least the Scourge that I know of has always been like has been the right hand of the Enchantress and Thor. So at that point, if he had words, I don't remember them. He was basically supposed to be the big burly muscle for her. So I mean, at this point, the fact that he got so much, and granted, he got kind of reduced down to like a comedic hero. But I'm not gonna say that was a bad idea, because he played it off really well. There were a couple of points where I felt like he got a little annoying because he was always trying to run away, but then, unlike the one dude who tried to dress as a woman in Hobbit, then this guy got to have an epic moment and got to bring out his two best buddies, Des and Troy.
Yeah.
To have an epic moment in and of itself. So I'm gonna say he did fairly well. What about you?
Yeah, he was fine.
I also want to try and get into like the performances of the new characters, because Chris Hemsworth, he's still knocking it out of the park as Thor. Mark Ruffalo is still probably the best Bruce Banner I've seen on camera.
Yeah,
and that's with me saying I've seen some of the. I haven't seen all of it yet, but I've seen some of the Ed Norton Hulk.
Oh wow, I've seen it all.
It's just one of those things that's like on my to-do list that I just never get around to. But I actually don't really like the Ed Norton Hulk.
Yeah.
I like Ruffalo a lot better. And way better than Bana. Sorry, I'm just throwing it out there, guys. I did not like Eric Bana as Bruce Banner. I love Mark Ruffalo. He works.
Yeah, I think Mark Ruffalo, because, it's just Edward Norton is that kind where you can see him as the Hulk, but that kind of, to that extent, it works against him, because it's like he's crazy enough to work as the Hulk, essentially, so it doesn't have quite the same effect. Like, Mark Ruffalo, I think the reason he gets to Hulk very well, he's kind of got a mild-mannered temperament to him, and how he carries himself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it feels more like, yeah, you got the calm Bruce Banner demeanor, and that's why you couldn't imagine that he's the Hulk, but when he becomes the Hulk, he pulls it off, pardon the pun, smashingly.
Yes, he does. And my problem with Ed Norton as Bruce Banner is kind of my problem with Ed Norton as a whole, and I'm probably going to piss a few people off, but this is just my assessment of the guy. For as much prestige as Ed Norton gets, he is a really hit or miss actor. Mm-hmm. I've seen maybe one or two films where I felt like, yeah, he was the reason that I liked it, but most of the time it's like he doesn't either get the character or it feels like he's phoning it in. And that's kind of my issue with the Incredible Hulk. It really feels like he phoned that crap in. And he can probably pull off. Here's the thing. Bruce Banner's not hard to pull off. All right. It's the Hulk that really matters, but the Hulk is CG. So unless you're Lou Ferrigno, you don't really have to worry about that. Oh yeah, that's right. Lou Ferrigno played Hulk in the original ones. And no, now we have full Mark Ruffalo playing. That was the other thing too. The Hulk talked in this film.
Yeah.
Holy crap. It's never happened.
And yeah, at least not in any of the Avengers movies that we've seen him.
No, but here's the thing. Actually, no, he did actually speak. He said Puny God, remember, in the original Avengers. But it wasn't Mark. It was Lou Ferrigno. They brought him in to do that little cameo.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, this was the first time he'd actually been able to play the Hulk himself. So, anyway, I'm trying to go down the list, guys. So, before we go into other bests. Tessa Thompson. How do we feel like she played as Valkyrie?
Yeah, for a new character, I liked her.
I like the fact that they start off with like the lowly drunkard, and then you find out her backstory. It's like, okay, now this makes sense why you are the way you are, and then she becomes all epic.
Yeah.
So I think she's like the one complaint I've seen online is like she doesn't get enough. Either she doesn't get enough spotlight, or they don't utilize her very well. And frankly, I don't think so. I think they use her really well. Actually, I especially love the whole joke that, she knows Hulk because she's trained with him. But then when he turns back to Banner, it's like, do I know you from somewhere? I think I know you from somewhere. And then they kept on bouncing that back. And then as soon as he turns into the Hulk, she's like, oh yeah, figures. So, I think she pulled off a really great performance. And I was wondering if at one point we were going to get Valkyrie. I was thoroughly convinced they were going to try and do some weird thing where Sif became Valkyrie. Just because Sif had gained popularity not only through the Thor movies, but she had done cameos in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Mm-hmm. So the fact that they didn't go there, I guess, is a little disappointing. But from what I understand, that actress has been, her name is escaping me right now, but she's been approached for other roles, including maybe crossing over and doing DC stuff. Mm. So, but yeah, I think Tessa did a fairly good job, considering what was handed to her. I mean, she's not the focus of the story, but when she is on screen, she owns the scene. So, yeah. But yeah, other actually, I guess the one other thing we need to talk about, Jeff Goldblum as the Grand Master.
Totally fitting.
Was I the only one who was thinking it's like Ian Malcolm, the supervillain?
Ian Malcolm, the supervillain.
Because it looked like, I mean, granted, guys, Jeff Goldblum plays Jeff Goldblum. That's what he does. Yeah. But I just, like, a lot of the hand motions, they looked like original Jurassic Park Ian Malcolm. And so I'm like, holy crap, it's like he's channeling Ian Malcolm as a supervillain. Because he'd be like, and now we can look forward to our champion. It's just like... And then we had Sam Neill early on in the movie. I was like, this is Jurassic Park. This is Jurassic effing Park.
I didn't even recognize it was Sam Neill. I saw it in the credits. I'm like, wait, not the same Sam Neill from Jurassic Park.
I was about to lose it at that scene. So what we're talking about is the play.
Yeah.
Because Sam Neill played, and here's the funniest part. I think Sam Neill was one of the early considerations for the Odin character before they got Anthony Hopkins. Mm-hmm. So the fact that they brought him in to play Odin is like, oh, okay, well that's a nice little nod. But then Matt frickin' Damon walked into my Thor movie. I don't like Matt Damon, and I never will, internet. I never will. He is a douchebag in real life. He is a douchebag on camera.
This new entry in Adam Hates Everyone.
No. That's somebody actually specified that for you. Adam hates actresses. Even though he would prefer that you call them actors because, well, that's what they are. And even they refer to themselves as actors.
Actors?
Actoire? Act. There you go.
What are you talking about?
They act. I don't even know anymore. But yeah, Matt Damon played the Loki actor, and guys, it's just one of those things where you can't separate the real life dude from the actor, from the role. And frankly, I've never been a Matt Damon fan whenever he was in a movie. Like, that's saying something. I've seen Dogma. He's supposed to be one of the things that makes it funny. I haven't seen Good Will Hunting, but...
That's a great movie, but I got a feeling if you saw it, you'd probably like Robin Williams' character better.
Yeah, that's exactly what people have told me, is I would like Robin Williams way better than Matt Damon. And the other problem is that, I mean, Matt Damon is a controversial figure when he does anything, whether it be acting or whether it be stepping onto the Tonight Show and calling whomever an idiot.
Welcome to Hollywood. Everybody's got a political soapbox.
Yes, and yet strangely enough, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon are the ones that truly suck at conveying them.
It's like, Adam, if you start hating actors for if you start hating every actor for their politics, boy, you're never gonna watch any more movies.
Well, that's a good thing that I hate Matt Damon for just being a despicable human being. So that because his politics has not really played into any of it. He just every time I've seen him on camera, every time I've seen him do an interview, I'm thoroughly convinced he's that one guy on the set who's the absolute diva. And here's the thing: there's testimonials out there saying yes, that's exactly who he is.
Edward Norton has that rep too.
Ed Norton does have that rep too. Ben Affleck has that rep now. So at that point, yeah, it was even as guys, if he was gonna play anybody, it'd be Loki, and so it makes sense. But I'm just like, I can't get over it. But I'm not saying he did bad. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying he shouldn't exist in life. So
oh God.
I'm not saying that he's a despicable human being. All I'm saying is that he needs to go jump off a bridge and die.
I'm not saying he's a despicable human being, but he's a despicable human being.
Hey, that's my line. So anyway, let's go back into your best before I immediately piss off all of the Matt Damon fans.
It's nice to see Anthony Hopkins again.
I don't want to say his role was downplayed.
Well,
I'd actually say that's probably the most godlike he's been in any of the movies. I mean, I'm not saying he's not portrayed Odin well, but in the first two movies, it's been Lord of the Rings-esque.
Yeah.
You know, in this one, he's a god who's just looking out onto the world and saying, like, Thor, remember this place. And then, having his rare moments.
Azeroth isn't a place, it's where the people are.
Okay, I've been wondering why you've been referring to Azeroth.
God.
It's Asgard.
There's too many ass names and too many eyes names. It's fantasy names.
Every time you do that, I'm just like, are we talking about the Warcraft movie again?
I can't help it. I got Warcraft vibes watching this. Some of the sets and costumes look kind of similar to Warcraft to me.
So what you're basically telling me is that now is the time to recruit you to World of Warcraft because you can't get it out of your brain.
Well, in my failed attempt at the opening monologue, our failed take, I used Isengard, so there you go.
And Azeroth. You used that too.
I've used every fantasy name under the sun.
Could it be, in fact, that they are taking the hobbits to Isengard?
And Han Solo, he's from the Laylat system, right?
Yes, exactly.
And he's from Corneria, and Star Fox is from Corellia.
And he pilots the Century Eagle.
And Endor, that was in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1.
Exactly.
It's all blending together now.
Yeah, pretty much. And we're not helping. Yeah, so we did have the cameos. Sam Neill did a good job too, considering what was handed to him. But, I mean, the whole purpose of that scene was just, this was Loki being Loki.
Yeah.
I could have easily told you that wasn't Anthony Hopkins, although he was having fun doing that. I'm thoroughly convinced Anthony was having fun doing that scene. But he's like, I can sit back and eat grapes all day. I'm fine. But yeah, back to...
Doctor Strange cameo.
Doctor Strange cameo, and I love that too.
Or, I'm sorry, was it Dr. Octopus? I don't know. I'm kidding.
Doctor Doom? No. Because this would be a good movie, and Doctor Doom hasn't been in any good movies.
Doctor Strange. It's good, but it's taken.
Exactly. So back to Odin. Yeah, I thought that was probably the most godlike they'd actually made Odin in this entire deal, and then we'll get into the Strange. But I mean, agree, disagree?
Yeah, I agree.
Probably the easiest role he's ever done because he didn't have to get into the armor ever again. He was just in the suit. I did find it funny that Loki left him in an old folks' home. That was pretty hilarious.
The same Shady Acres, too.
Shady Acres, yeah. Well, Shady Acres is something that shows up in the Marvel Comics universe, so
okay,
that was fine.
It's like it's the call sign of Tom Shadyac, the director who always works with Jim Carrey.
I almost want to say that the Shady Acres has shown up in Doctor Strange comics as being on the same neighborhood as the Door. So I might be wrong about that, and you guys can let me know. But yeah, there we go. So Doctor Strange's cameo. I like the fact that it led into what we were seeing in the Easter egg.
Yeah.
From Doctor Strange. especially the instantly refilling beer mug. That was pretty awesome. And correct me if I'm wrong, okay? Yeah, Doctor Strange's cameo was actually pretty freaking awesome. Just because it feels like they decided to take the character a little bit more detached, a little bit more, I'm only interested in being the Sorcerer Supreme, and I'm not necessarily looking to make friends. The reason I say that is because, I mean, he's very to the point with Thor.
Yeah.
He says, Loki is a person of interest. That's why I put him where I did. And then at that point, saying, like, what can I possibly do to get Thor Odin's son off of Earth? And he says, I'm only looking for Odin. He's like, okay, so if you find Odin, you'll all go? Yes. Okay, then boom, here's Loki. And Loki gets pissed, and he immediately, yep, okay, now I don't have to deal with him anymore, now do I? I especially love that he had to keep that straight face, and all Thor was doing was breaking every single relic in that entire area. I especially love the whole hammer. Oh, that was hilarious. and Strange is like, he's like, give me a second, I'm sorry. And then he gets the umbrella back. But I thought the cameo was actually well worth it. I wish there could have been more, but that's me. And frankly, maybe they're saving the budget for Infinity War so they can do that. Yeah,
maybe. Let's hope so.
So we kind of derailed from this. Any other bests that you want to throw in there?
No, I think that's it for my best.
Okay. My best is obviously being able to see more of the Marvel space kind of continuity, where we got to see a whole other world that's basically like a portal hub world. For some reason, all the junk in the universe ends up there, and that this is the Grand Master's world, obviously. I like the fact that we were getting more world building, especially in the Thor canon, where we got to have the whole reveal of the true history of Asgard, where we got to see Odin as like a conqueror. And eventually where that led to Hela showing us the true mural behind the one we've seen, which is, Odin was a conqueror and Hela was his right-hand, goddess. And at that point, go ahead and turn it off. Sorry, that was the camera if you guys actually heard it. But, yeah, I like the reveals that they tried to do with it. And finally, the other thing I liked was a lot of the interaction between Thor and Loki, Thor and Bruce Banner, Thor and Valkyrie. I especially love the fact that they basically made Thor into a Marvel geek when talking about Valkyrie.
Yeah.
Because, like, oh my gosh, is that the sword of a Valkyrie? I've always wanted to be one, except that I found out you were all women and I can't be one. Kind of thing. That was actually really awesome to me, just because now we can take this godly guy and kind of make him a little bit more mortal to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And that, and a lot of the shots, a lot of the CG that was done here just made this look like a sci-fi meets fantasy film in the way that it needed to be for the Thor universe to come across. Because there were a lot of points where it wasn't... Normally in these kinds of films, it would be jarring to go from a sci-fi scene to a fantasy scene. In this one, it wasn't, because we did actually need to have those transitions into what was going on in Asgard, and then what was going on where Thor was.
Yeah.
So, we got into the likes, now the dislikes.
You go ahead. Besides Matt Damon.
Matt Damon! Could you please put something up where he's dead? Like we have X's across his eyes, kind of thing. Maybe have him walking off a bridge or dying in a fire. Well, Matt Damon aside, bad stuff in this film, I'm actually going to say a little bit that the Grandmaster was. Because, again, it was Ian Malcolm, the supervillain. And it didn't really feel like he was ever an imposing threat. And this is a guy who we literally saw him melt somebody. And the first thing that he does is, oh, jeez, oh, it's getting on my robes. Oh, he kind of got old to me really quick. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that was by accident or by design. So I didn't necessarily like him too much. Like I said, some of the Scourge scenes were a little much. Like, there were a lot of points where it's like, I'm Scourge and I'm just looking for a way to prove myself and to get noticed, um and then they'd always end up in some kind of comedic thing, which then kind of redeems it for me. The only time that I think they didn't do that was when Hela was like, I'll bring you into the fold, I'll make you my executioner, and then you had the whole conflict of, is it right to work for Hela? But most of it I did like. Most of it I felt it was properly paced and all that. It was just those scenes that tended to drag a little bit.
Yeah, I'd probably be in the same camp.
So like in the previous planet, in the Grandmaster's planet, I was almost screaming out like, can we just not have Grandmaster scenes? Can we go back to Thor and Hulk, or Thor and Bruce Banner, or Thor and Valkyrie? And instead we had to endure 10 minutes of him and his right hand woman arguing. So those would be really my beasts. What about you? What do you have to add to that?
The opening scene was a bit odd for me. Just because it's like Thor is facing with this imposing fire beast here, and he's in chains. It's both kind of funny, but I think it kind of overstays its welcome a bit because he keeps, because the chains are kind of moving on their own, so he keeps kind of being turned around.
Yeah, the joke was overdone. Like if they'd done it once, then I would have been fine with it. But I think they did it 3 times.
Yeah, they did it like 3 times. So
like once, maybe twice, and then at that point, it's overstayed its welcome after the second time. The other thing too that I will say about that opening part was did we really need to have the dragon's head coming into the Bifrost room just to splatter those 2 poor women with Nickelodeon gack? Did it need to happen? I would dare say, sir, no, it didn't. The only reason that they did it was because Scourge was trying to woo them. And like I said, any time like a scene was about to end for Scourge, it was a comedic way, and this was one of them. I was not necessarily a fan of that, but it wasn't horrible. I will say one thing that saved it was the whole rotating of the eyes in the dragon, and I was like, oh! I'm like, yeah, okay, that saved it. The other thing too was the undead army was a little imposing, but was I the only one that had a little bit of Narnia flashbacks with Fenris?
Maybe just a bit, yeah.
It seemed like a really weird, like he was just a giant wolf, and I'm not saying you could do much with that. In fact, it might have been better to go more Warcraft and put armor on him. Just put more spikes on the thing, because then he would have looked like he would have been a part of Helia's army. Those are really the only beefs that I had with it.
Yeah.
So at that point, let's get into the final scores here. Where do you rate Thor Ragnarok?
I'm gonna give it an 8.
Solid B?
Yeah.
All right. What could it have done to be better in your mind?
Maybe just tone down a few of the jokes that kind of overran themselves.
Yeah.
It's not just the opening. I think the movie has a lot of jokes in it, and it's not all bad, right? Unless you just are the type who hates the consistent tone shifts, but it's like, I think they could have, cut a few here and there just to keep it consistent in scenes. They didn't need to constantly bounce back and forth between humor and
or in some cases, bounce to a dire situation on Asgard and then immediately into a humor situation on the planet.
Yeah.
It's like, that's a little bit of a whiplash.
Yeah, it's, they could at least make it a little more eased into, a little more gradual, so it's not like, oh, I'm happy, oh, I'm sad, I'm happy again.
Yeah, exactly. It gets to be a little bit of an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
For me, I'm going to go with you. I think it's a solid B attempt. I think that it has the same kind of pacing problems that we're both talking about. But overall, it is an entertaining movie to sit through. So at that point, if they had fixed all the pacing, then it would have only gotten better. And also, it's one of those things too where I feel like some Easter eggs were left out. I mean, we didn't even talk about the Stan Lee cameo. That was hilarious.
Yeah.
Please don't cut my hair, sir. Please. I thought that was actually one of the best Stan Lee cameos he's ever had. I know I say that a lot, but when you put sharp tools in the hands of Stan Lee, it just helps. The other thing too that I felt was abused a little bit, and maybe this was supposed to be a joke right off, is we keep on wanting to go back to the Thor mechanic of we have to knock him unconscious, And so, like, Thor 1, it felt like, you know, running him over a couple of times and injecting him with stuff. That was pretty cool, but then we have to recreate those moments, especially with that damn Electro thing.
Right.
And how he has to just constantly get knocked out by that. Oh, it got so annoying. But, I mean... Oh, and another scene I will actually say that I loved was that moment where they actually did try to show the Hulk surfacing and Mark Ruffalo actually have, like, that green vein start up. That was pretty awesome. Okay, so that's our final score for it. I guess the last thing that we need to get into is as far as money, because movie tickets just keep on going up and up and up.
Yeah.
How much would we actually recommend people spend on Thor Ragnarok?
I'd say it's worth a matinee.
I will up it in one regard. I think it's worth a matinee. I don't think that's the problem. I think it's also worth a primetime showing if you're with friends and you're all enjoying yourself. I know I say that a lot about Marvel movies, but really that's what the audience that they're meant to.
Yeah.
I just don't know if I would go into the gimmick of like optimal sound or 3D for this, because I think the 3D would be fine. I think it would look okay. But the sound would probably be way too booming for this one. Mm-hmm. And it would probably get on my nerves a little bit. So I don't recommend that. But a primetime one with people that you love going to see these movies with, it's worth it.
Yeah.
And that's going to go ahead and do it for this vlog. So thank you guys so much for listening in on it. We both apologize for this taking so long. Thankfully, you won't have to wait too long after this one, because... it's finally time, Alex. The next vlog we're taking on is pretty much the pinnacle of DC. This is what a lot of people have been waiting for, because next time we do Justice League.
Justice League.
We'll see you guys then.